What does it take to heal a nation that forgets? That is the question that defines the mission of Kiko Miranda, Executive Director of Fundación Climacom. Are we a nation that's doomed to keep on repeating the same mistake? How can we nurture a generation who remembers? In this second of a three-part series, we also dive into what good governance looks like and why active citizenship is not just an option, but a necessity for building the future that we deserve. Subscribe and follow us to catch the rest of this three-part series and more conversations with changemakers. I'm your host, Albert, and this is Drawing on Hope. So, you talk about wanting to raise a generation who remembers. Can you paint me a picture of what that would look like maybe 10, 20 years, 30 years down the line? Especially because you were talking about how we live in a time where people actively seek to change history, the narratives that we're telling, spread misinformation and fake news. And unfortunately, it's not just here in the Philippines, it's in a lot of different places around the world.
Problem,
right?
yeah.
So memory and legacy, I think, play a very important role. So what does that look like for you if you do your foundation work well? What does a generation who remembers looks like?
Well, a generation who remembers, in my mind, is a generation, number one, who would put power into account. They ask the hard questions. They call out those in power when they're not doing good things, no? Without fearing that they will be, that their lives will be at stake. No? It's a generation who will engage in discourse not based on just emotions and hearsay, but really would know that, would look at the facts, no? Would look at history, no? And engage in discussion. Hindi lang siya a generation na puro ra lang. But they engage in a dialogue grounded on mutual respect and also a respect for facts. No? It's also a generation who I hope, I mean, isang picture kasi na nakikita ko kapag you raise a generation who remembers is sana yung mga walls ng mga bahay natin, sana bumaba siya or dapat wala ng walls, right? Yung wala ka ng gates sa subdivisions. No? Kasi yung mga bahay ngayon, pataasan na ng firewall eh. Di ba? Pataasan na tayo ng gates, nilalagyan pa natin ng barbed wire. Yung parang preso yung mga bahay natin because I think wala ng trust sa neighbors.
Right.
Di ba? But if because a generation who remembers will be the generation who would take care of what for them is very important. Right? Importante ang peace amin. Importante ang security para sa amin. At pag hindi natin maalala, ano pa nangyari dati? Bakit ba tayo naging ganito ngayon? Kung hindi nila maaalala, then hindi rin nila mahahanap kung ano yung mga dapat na solusyon sa atin. So with remembering, for me, it also trickles down to, good governance, public safety, and a reflection of a safe public space is that you don't have walls. You don't have barbed wires. Di ba? Yung hindi 10 yung lock mo sa gate mo at napakaraming CCTV sa bahay mo. Yung ganyan. No? It's a vision that plays in my mind of a nation who remembers and a nation who would really take care of something that they really value. Kasi pag di ba ganun tayo as humans? Kapag may nawala sa atin na importante, pag naibalik ulit sa atin, gagawin natin ang lahat para hindi siya mawala ulit.
Right?
And you remember, di ba? Paano mo siya i-guard na super guard mo siya kapag hindi mo naalala na, ay dati ganito kasi yung ginawa sa amin. or ganito yung ginawa, or ganito yung nangyari. Kaya, kailangan mo alalahanin yun eh, na wala to sa akin dahil ganun ang nangyari. Ganun ang ginawa. So ngayon, binalik ulit sa akin, mas lalo ko siyang, di ba? Mas lalo ko siyang aalagaan kasi ayoko na siyang mawala ulit. And remembering is a huge part of it.
I like though that the way you frame it is not that you're wanting to nurture individuals who remember. Because I think what you were describing earlier, in the future maybe our walls will come down.
Yeah.
But the way you, at the same time, the way you talk about, I lost something, so kailangan I protect it so I don't lose it again. I think that is a fear-based response that you can also easily fall into if you're an individual who remembers.
Yeah.
Right? I remember what it feels like na mawalan. So I will put up my walls, I will install CCTV, I will not let it happen again.
Yeah.
But I think the beautiful thing about framing your mission statement as nurturing a generation who remembers is may community aspect doon where hindi lang ako nag-iisa. Tayo, dahil collectively nawalan tayo because we know what the bad decisions led to, then we collectively also can care for each other.
Yes,
right? And I think that's what leads to the lowered walls, to the care for each other, the community, diba? It's that we're not going through the remembering on our own.
Yes.
I think that's why I really like how you're framing the mission statement.
Di ba ang ganda nun?
Ang ganda. Ang ganda.
Tsaka pura yun, di ba? Hindi ka nagagastos magpatayo ng walls. At ang mahal-mahal magpatayo ng fence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanna switch gears a bit, Kiko, and revisit a phrase that we've been bringing up a lot in this conversation, which is good governance. So we hear it a lot, but from your foundation's perspective, how do you define it? What does that mean for the foundation?
So, good governance siguro for us in the foundation would look like a vendor, maybe a street vendor, no, has equal access to justice as the rich ones, no. A victim of human rights abuse has a government that will fight for them. Marami tayong naririnig, di ba? Kapag at ako na-experience ko na yun na kahit alam ng isang biktima na nasa winning side siya, iisipin nila, wala tayong pera, hindi tayo papansinin, wala tayong kilala sa taas and everything. And this has been, all the reasons of people who feel that they are below those who can afford. So good governance should not make those who are abused, who are victims, who are in the fringes, who are marginalized feel that they need money, they need connections, they need, di ba, a padrino for them to be able to access justice, no? Sobrang parang, well, Kiko, I mean, is that really, possible? But it should be. It's not even a question of is it possible, pero it should be. Because the government, we are in a democracy, diba? It's the power to the people. The people are the focus of a democratic country. No? So a vendor who has equal access to justice as the rich, victim of human rights, no, has a government that will fight for them, no. Yung siguro yung mga gusto kong marinig in a community that has good governance, isa yung pag tinanong mo sila, kumusta buhay? Sagot sa'yo, maginhawa, o sapat, di ba? O dapat, di ba? Yun siguro yung mga kung narinig natin na pag tinanong natin ang isang community na, kumusta po kayo dito? Ang sagot sa atin ay, alam mo, maginhawa yung buhay namin. And I think that is a consequence of good governance. When government is working for the people, with the people, most probably you'd hear those answers, no? Sapat ang buhay, 'di ba? Nakukuha namin kung ano yung dapat para sa amin. So, yun yung mga siguro kung marinig natin, alam natin, the local government is working, no? And local governance is for me when dignity is not only given but also felt by every sector of society. Parte sila ng pagdidesisyon. No? And good governance also, and I'd like to also share this, and I've been also sharing this to even citizens and volunteer group. Good governance is not just about the government. We are also part of good governance. So good governance coupled with active citizenship is what we need if we want our community, our barangay, or our city, province, or even our country to prosper or to get out of whatever mess we are in. It's not just about government, but you have also to ask yourself, tayo na mga people or the community, no? Kailangan may pake tayo, pero dapat may gawa din tayo. Di ba? So may pake at may gawa. So that's how I imagine a community where good governance is thriving, and what that good governance should also be coupled with active citizenship.
The notion of active citizenship, I think, is a very powerful idea that we don't get to talk about a lot. No, we usually focus our attention on who are the people in power, diba? How can we vote for them? But more importantly, what can you do for us?
Yeah.
Right? What's in it for me? Anong pwede niyong gawin sa amin?
I had this, kapatid, I can share, no? I had this, parang aha moment about active citizenship. Nung, dati kasi, I'm a commuter. So I take the tricycle. And the tricycle here really don't follow, walang mechanism. There's a standard rate, but they don't follow the standard rate. No? Walang metro, walang ano. So, grabe yung talagang abuse of the commuters no sa babayaran mong tricycle. So, that time sobrang pa ako, I was 10, 13 years younger than mga nasa 20s pa ako. So talagang rarara ako, nagrarally ako sa street and everything. I post on social media, etc. I mean, and then when the council now heard our request for a public hearing, so they called the tricycle drivers, so mga TODA to, yung mga association nila, and the riding public. So ako, I did all my, let's go! Kailangan, nandito na, ito na yung chance natin para we'll find a win-win, ganyan, no? Win-win, arrangement for both the tricycle and the commuter, ganyan. So pagdating namin sa council, punong-puno ang council ng tricycle drivers at 4 lang kami riding public na nandun. So parang, oh my God, edi syempre, outnumber at the same time so na-outpower din kami ng tricycle. So and that led to an insight, a very personal experience na hindi lang pala enough so pinakinggan na tayo ng local government. Nag-schedule na ng public hearing. Pero kapag wala active engagement, wala rin mangyayari. Kasi at the end of the day, sasabihin din ng council, kulang, nasan kayo? Diba?
Right.
Nasaan kayo? Ang dami ng tricycle drivers dito, pero nasan ang riding public? So, baka Kiko, problema mo lang yan. Yung ganon, no? And so that led to my very personal experience and an insight that good governance should also be coupled with active citizenship.
So that I think is one of the big myths talaga about public service and governance, right? That good governance isn't just limited to the people in power. It's really involving us as citizens as well.
Yes.
Are there other misconceptions or myths about leadership that you think we need to be more aware of and hopefully unlearn so that we can move towards real accountability and progress?
This is something that really irritates me. No? The way I see it now, leadership is about charisma, and power. The more charisma you have, the more power you show, the more you're the you're the one that we're going to vote. No, and I think we should. I think we should stop glorifying um, leaders, no, or public servants based on popularity and entertainment. No, there's more to popularity, charisma, and even power. And what are those? For me, it's character and competence. No, competence, may nagawa ba siya? Character, in the most difficult of times, andun ba siya? No? So, isa yun that's the myth for me. Number one myth na kailangan natin tanggalin, na ang leader dapat may charisma, yung entertaining, nakakatawa, popular, sikat siya. Kaya nagpapatawa siya. Sometimes charism is a double-edged sword, no? There are leaders who are really charismatic but has really good intention. But meron din naman iba yung charisma pero nadadala na lang sa charisma pero wala namang competence. Wala namang character, 'di ba? Kapag okay siya pag kampanya, 'di ba? Parang galing magsalita, galing ganda ng people skills niya, 'di ba? Pero pag panahon naman ng problema, missing in action siya. 'Di ba? Or magpapadala na lang ng mga tao, hindi naman siya agad yung nagre-respond, no? And so yun, that's a myth that I hope na mawala sa atin, no? And then again, babalik ulit ako doon sa pinag-usapan natin kanina, no? Isang myth din is that pag maayos ang leader natin, masosolve ang problema ng bansa o ng city natin. I mean, leadership is not a silver bullet.
Right.
Nor it's a magic pill to solve our nation's problems. No, it's just one. It can be an influential part, but it's just one part of the entire equation. And yung crucial dyan, again, babalik ulit tayo na titignan natin ulit ang tayo as citizens, diba? Are we actively engaging also? No. So leadership is not just from the leader. Leadership should also come from us, from citizens, no? And ano ba yung leadership? Maraming definition ng leadership, di ba? Parang leadership is may mga servant leadership, bridging leadership, di ba? Adaptive leader, dami-dami na. But at the core of leadership, Albert, I think it's as simple as if someone is in need of help, you help. Diba? But there are times and there are people who we see na someone is in need of help, yet we don't want to help. Maybe it's bias natin, no? Baka internal bias natin, or we're indifferent na, di ba? Sabi ni Pope Francis, the globalization of indifference. I think that's very powerful because once we are indifferent to our brothers and sisters, oh my God, we're in big trouble. I don't think it will build higher walls and sharper barbed wires and more high definition camera. so yun, leadership is not a silver bullet. It's not a magic pill. No, it's not the only answer. But importante rin yung leadership natin mismo, citizen, the active engagements of us citizens, no? And wag natin na komplikahin ang definition ng leadership, no? Leadership is as simple as when someone is in need of help, you help. Yeah.
And then checking what their character and competence is like.
Yes, character and competence is, yes.
I remember my kids one time, they were seeing me interview some potential hires for my company. And then after I'm finished, they were asking why do you ask them for things like an NBI clearance, check for their police records, their CV and everything. And I told them, because I have to make sure I'm hiring the right person.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, their follow-up question was, why is it that people with criminal records can still run for public office? I mean that's a good point, and it is a powerful question to ask, right?
Yes, it is.
We require so much of people who are applying for employment in any other company. You have to have graduated from high school. You have to have graduated college. Is it even the relevant degree? Where's your NBI, police clearance, etc., etc.? And it's a wonder why we're not asking for more from those who seek to serve us in public office, right? Having said that, so here's something that comes to mind though, because I was also asking myself that same question. So why am I not more actively participating? Why am I not demanding more from the leaders? And I realized at some point when I was younger, I felt burned out. Kasi I as an active participant, sige, I want to know more about the candidates. I want to know more about what they stand for, etc., etc. It can be very tiring to be actively participating in the slow wheels of progress in government.
Yes.
Especially if you don't see the change that you want to see. So I guess my question here for you, Kiko, is what do you say to people who are just tired? I mean, it's fair. They're tired, right? Valid emotional response. But what do you tell them so that they can hopefully get some hope back?
Yeah. The first thing I'll tell them, kapatid, is ako din. Ako din. Pagod na ako sa nangyayari sa bansa natin. I'm not happy, no? Ako din. It's the same feeling that we have, no, na madami-dami nangyari, bakit parang pa backwards tayo, no? And if a person will ask me na parang, so anong masasabi mo? Wala na akong sabi ko, ako din. But when I also went through that phase, no, burnout, I didn't want to do development work anymore, na disillusion ako, na dami-dami naming sacrifice, for good governance, pero bakit parang ganito pa rin? Paano? But while you're still breathing, that breath that you take and the steps that you make will also be determined by the type of government that you have, And so the heroic acts that is so parang masyadong mainstream, I mean, for change to happen, you need to make heroic acts, I mean, you need to be on TV and fight the Goliath and all. But I realized after when I processed the burnout and everything, and I'm like, I can't just stay indifferent from everything, I realized that I can still influence, people to change for the better, choose better in my small little circle. Maybe dati siguro laki ng scope ko, di ba? Zamboanga City, I mean as a youth leader and an activist dati. Talagang laki. I want to change Zamboanga City. But then you get overwhelmed and disillusioned, and I said, wala nang pag-asa to, hindi na pwede, But kapag lagi ko sinasabi, hindi na pwede, ako, bahala na kayo, mamabilangan. But I realized that my everyday life is affecting, di ba? It's affecting me because of, if nothing happens. So I look at it in a micro, atomic habits, that 1% of change that you make every day will compound. And I would give that person the advice of, ako din, pagod na rin ako. Pero try just doing 1%. What is that 1% you can do every day that can that can change or influence people to choose for better candidates, demand better from government, you know, small consistent acts. What is that 1% you can do to change the current political landscape? No, no need for big heroic acts. Yeah. Just let's do the 1%. And I'm slowly, I mean, I'm practicing that. Na parang, okay, may isang malaking parang, oh my God, ba't naman nangyari yan, di ba? I mean, if I were like 15 years ago, I'd be already on the streets, mobilizing people. But in my own little corner in the sky, di ba? I talk to my friends, my close knit friends. I talk to my neighbor, di ba? Maybe in a sari-sari store, I would engage the tindera there, no, to talk about. So for me, those are the little 1% that I can do that hopefully will eventually compound. Because I can't save my city. Diba?
Yeah.
It's a community. But if a community will do a little bit of 1% every day, I think it will compound to 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 a bigger movement.
I think it's important to also remind people na in as much as we want to admire people like Cesar Climaco, it's important to remember that number one, not everyone is built and designed for the big sacrifices, and
Yeah.
that's okay, right?
Mm.
But even for people like Cesar Climaco, I think it's also good to remember that he wouldn't be who he is without the people around him as well, right?
Yes.
The people who kept the city running when he was serving as mayor, the people in his social circles, the family that would support him
Mhm.
and allowed him to be everything he needed to be.
Yes.
So I like that you're bringing it down to small 1% actions that we can do. And in many ways, Kiko, I think that's also one of the mantras that we have in putting together this podcast and even doing the things that we do at Pushpin. We always tell ourselves to not let our inability to do everything stop us from doing the something that we can do.
Very
Right?
nice.
We
That's
can't we can't do
beautifully.
everything, but we can still do something.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Tsaka
Um
importante rin, Albert, alam mo what breaks my heart is that when I hear from young people, as young as junior high school or even grade school na, ay, wala ng pag-asang Pilipinas, that really breaks my heart. That really breaks my heart. Na parang, as young as a grade 6 student saying
mm,
that, I think we should really do something. I mean, maybe they'll change, Of course, they will change as they grow older, but we need to protect the idealism of children and young people because the idealism kasi reminds us of what life should be, what our city should be, no? It reminds us about that eh. Pero kung yun, masakit talaga yan sa puso ko pag naririnig ko, we have to protect that. We have to protect them from that because if these kids start to not believe already in our city or in our country, then we're on the losing end.
do you have a sense of how you can give them back that hope?
It's to for for me to protect that hope, that the idealism of the kids. Importante that we nurture an environment for them to still believe in our country, to still believe in our city, to still believe in the good values, no. And creating that environment for them would mean that the school has to be a nurturing environment for them. The home should also be a nurturing environment for them. Diba? They have they have a spirituality grounded in a faith that teaches them the golden rule, whether it's Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, and the other major religions, teaching about, at the end of the day, it's the golden rule. So creating those, so it's a community. The community has to come together to protect that idealism of the children and still make them believe that the Philippines is still worth living and worth fighting for. Tatlong ano yan eh. I always say there are three areas that we need to make sure that the children are safest. The three areas are tahanan, paaralan, and sambahan.
Drawing on Hope is a podcast by Pushpin, a social impact design agency that uses drawings and stories to help make things make sense. Follow us at Pushpin Visuals on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, or visit www.pushpinvisuals.com. Thanks for listening, and remember, hope isn't something we wait for, it's something we create.